Today, we will talk about what is a two-way frequency table. Now, the main idea here is that we will use what is called a two-way frequency table to analyze two groups at the same time. So, when we talk about a two-way frequency table, we're usually going to talk about two groups. Those two groups are going to have something in common, and that is what we're going to be analyzing. So again, the main idea for today is that we will use a two-way frequency table to analyze two groups at the same time. So now let's get started. Here, this is called a two-way frequency table. The first thing that you should always do is get familiar with the example that this table is presented. So now here, this table is about a survey of friends, and they were asked what type of party they will enjoy the most. And this is how the answers were collected. Now, how do you read this kind of a table? Well, here we have our columns, male, female, and total. And here we have our rows, bowling, skating, dancing. So this means that there were two groups that were being asked. Here's the answers for all the males, the answers for all the females, and this is who answered bowling, skating, and dancing. So what this means is, if we look at this number 6, this means that there were 6 males who answer bowling as the party that they will enjoy the most. What 11 means is that there were 11 females who answer skating, and what 1 means is that there were only 1 male who prefer a dancing party. So this is how you can read this kind of a table. You just look at the number that you're interested in, see which column in which row this is on. This is on the column of females, and this is on the row of skating. So this means that there were 11 females who answered skating as their favorite party. So this is how you read this kind of a table. And usually at the end, you're always going to have a total column. Now, how do we get these numbers? 8, 14, 4, and 26. You get 8 because if we're talking about totals, you need to take the male and female in consideration. So there was a total of 8 who answered bowling because 6 males answer bowling and 2 females answer bowling. You add them up, you get 10, and so on for the other groups. Here we get 4 because there were 3 females and 1 male who answered dancing. So this is how you read this kind of a table. Now, usually when you have this kind of a table, you will always have some kind of a question at the end. And here the question that we're trying to answer is, knowing that this is the answers that a group of individuals answer, we want to know what type of party will they prefer. Now let's see. We know we have bowling, we have skating, and we have dancing. We're going to pay more attention to the total because we want to know what type of party overall everyone enjoyed. So here, let's look at what's the group that has the most numbers for total. Here we see that 14 is the higher number when it comes to either bowling, skating, dancing. So that means that if you plan a skating party, you will hit most of the majority of the students who were asked in this survey, because there was a total of 14 students who answered skating as their favorite party. So if you want to answer this question, what type of party will you plan for them? Well, you will definitely want to hit a party that will be enjoyable for most of the individuals in your party. So definitely here's skating. So we have skating, and now it says why. Because it seems that because skating seems like it's the most popular. So this is how we answer the kind of questions regarding the two-way frequency table. Now, look at our next example here. So now here below, here's the table of people in the park and the activities that they do. Now, what we want to do is, let's try to complete the relative frequency table based on the total participants. First, complete the table. So let's try to just complete the values that are missing in this table. We want to know what values will go into these slots. Now, how can we figure that out? Well, we know that if you add all the males, that will be the total. So here, let's try to figure out what goes in this section. What goes in this section is the addition of all the males. So let's see, we got 9 plus 4, that's 13. 13 plus 10, that's 23. So that means that there were exactly 23 males. Now, we know that in the column, if you add the subgroups, it should always be equal to the total. So 23 plus some other number here should be equal to 50. So now what the number will be is 27, because 23 plus 27, that equals to 50. Now this is something special about the total column, and that is, here notice that 50, where is 50 located at? 50 is located on the column of total and on the rows of total. So that means that this is a special number, which is just the total overall. So if you add all the subgroups, which in this case are male and female, it should be add up to what we have equal to here, which in this case is 50. That's how we came up with 27 as the number that we were missing here. All right, so now let's see what else can we figure out. Well, I know that if I add all the females, it should be equal to 27 now. So we have 11 plus 1, so that's 12. So what we're missing here is 15. Because I know that if I add all this, it should be equal to 27. Well, let's figure it out. 11 plus 2, that's 12. 12 plus 15, that's 27. So that's great. Now let's just rewrite this 5, because I don't like the way that it looks, but notice that this is 15. So we're almost done. We just need to figure out what goes in these two sections, or in those two spaces. So how can we figure it out? Well, if you add all the numbers in this column, it should be equal to the total. So to figure out what goes in this section, we need to add the males and the females. So 9 plus 11, that's 20. So that means that there were a total of 20 who were jogging. And the same goes for here, 4 plus 1, there were 5. There were 5 individuals who would prefer a fly kite. So this is how you can read what a two-way frequency table is. Just one thing to keep in mind is that if you add all the rows, that's the number that goes in total. And the same goes for the columns. If you add the columns, that should be equal to the total. If you add the columns, should be equal to the total. Add the columns, should be equal to the total. So this is how you can read a two-way frequency table. Now, here's your entrance ticket. Read the following and choose the correct option.